Hey everyone, what's going on? We'll lead off this video by apologizing for the late post this week. Typically I'm posting videos earlier throughout the week, but earlier this week I was not feeling very well, and then I had to get caught up on some Christmas things, and I don't know why I felt the need to share that with you. I am sure you don't care. You're just like, Greg, I came here for Bills football. They're 5-9. It's Christmas weekend. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year to all of you. Don't worry, I'll be back next week to talk about the season finale, but like kind of stemming off that point again. Like 5-9 Bills visiting Foxborough on Christmas weekend, and the Patriots. Some people are feeling like the demise is on us for, like, I don't know, the 11th consecutive year maybe. Every year since Brady got hurt. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. That's a question. Like, how many times have we had this discussion over the past decade that the Patriot demise is on us? Probably as many types of games we've had like this watching the Bills around Christmas. That said, I don't want to. I'm not trying to rag on the Bills there, because I do think there are a lot of positives that you can take out of the season, even as these games go along. Most notably, Josh Allen. Obviously, the Bills this past Sunday beat the Detroit Lions 14-13 in a game that I certainly wouldn't classify it as a memorable one. There were some slow points, some lulls in the action. Really just kind of tiptoeing around here, circumventing, if you will. Maybe the word boring is really a better term for it. It wasn't, it was definitely boring at times. Was it 13-7 at halftime, and it ends up being a 14-13 final. So, not a ton of points, not a wealth of yards, some big plays. But again, like I said, some positives. I thought mostly to be taken from Josh Allen's play, and Josh Allen has been pretty good since returning to the lineup in Week 12. Actually, I'll go to Mike Rodak, everyone's favorite Bostonian, Mike Rodak. Since returning to the lineup in Week 12, Josh Allen's completion percentage is low. It makes 29th in the league, but his adjusted completion percentage, which is weighted for how far he throws the football, and his air yards per attempt is first in the league, 12.4. So he's throwing the ball downfield. So his adjusted completion percentage is 72%. That excludes drops and throwaways and whatnot. So he's 12th in that. His actual pass yards per attempt is 5th. It's over 8, which is good. But similarly, his off-target throws, this again leads to the completion percentage, is 3rd highest at 24%. So it's kind of like, I don't really know how to describe how it's like he's got this just cannon there, and he can't just pull the reins in on it sometimes. And I love the gunslinger mentality, I guess. I know it sounds like such like a 60s phrase or something for quarterbacking, but the guy throws the ball downfield, there's actual completions, I guess. That's what I mean. Like NFL completions. Like, here is a guy running across the middle, and Josh stands in the pocket, like Foster or whatever, and waits for this guy to get open and hits him. And it's not happening on every play. Like I said, some of his throws are off target, but I thought he's been victimized by drops since returning to the lineup. Deontay Thompson, Zay Jones, it's everybody. It's happening to everybody. It seems like it's like contagious. I thought he had 3 or 4 this past Sunday against the Lions that were just brutal, and he still ended up throwing for just over 200 yards. So like he could have been. I don't know exactly, but we're in the 270 range. Not necessarily would have thrown for another touchdown, but like there were some, like Thompson, I believe, had 2. One he would have really had to lay out for, and he did lay out for and had it, but didn't bring it in when he hit the ground. Zay, like I said, Zay had 1. It's just, I don't know if that's because of the velocity Josh throws the ball with, or if maybe he's off target a little bit on the throws. But you know what? I'm encouraged. I'm very encouraged. Josh Allen's QBR is 10th in the league since returning to the lineup Week 12. And I know that is oftentimes a misleading statistic for some people. Sam Darnold is first since Week 12. So You can take that with a grain of salt if you'd like, but the usual regular names are up there: the Bradys and Wilsons, Roethlisbergers, Mahomes, Watson. So, and Josh Allen's 10th. So, be encouraged. Honestly, be encouraged. I don't know how you could watch Josh Allen be playing quarterback for the Bills and be like, oh man, we gotta get out. We're really in here. We're really in deep here, guys. And that's where I've been listening to John Clayton's been on WGR, and it's still a pretty widespread thought, I feel that rookie quarterbacks shouldn't play the first year. And I used to sort of be in that camp, but my thought is that maybe they should sit for 6 weeks here or there, and let and watch a little bit. There's just so much. It's just a group think that sit and learn, sit and develop. It just happens because he's not playing, because he's on the bench, he's developing. What do you mean? To me, the best way to develop as a player is to go out onto the field and develop as a player. You can develop as a pro, as a learner, and that's part of it by not playing, and that is part of it. That's why I think the appropriate amount of time is 4 minimum, maybe minimum 0 really, but 4 to 8 weeks. I get that because not only because the off season is very abbreviated for these rookies with the draft and whatnot, and then they get into their first training camp, but then they get into game weeks and practice, and they can see how veterans approach practice, approach film study, approach preparation for the game. But he doesn't need to do that 16 times and then have a full off season to be ready. I may be contradicting some things I've said in the past, but I don't know. You obviously, if I went back and watched my videos probably from years ago, I should do that. I probably use the word momentum and things like that. Oh my god, I'd probably hate it. I'd probably hate myself. I'm not going to do that. Maybe go ahead, find some freezing cold takes. Send them to me before you send them to Old Takes Exposed, please. Anyway, I'm glad Josh Allen has played. I imagine going into next season, without knowing if Josh Allen, without having seen Josh Allen play football, with the 10th overall pick, approximately, and Josh Allen hasn't played. Maybe sans a couple throws here or there, or a couple quarters or something. That to me sounds like a nightmare. Now I'm comfortable going into next season building around Josh Allen, building around the pieces that you have in place, the Deion Dawkins and the Robert Fosters, Zay Jones. I anticipate being here. Maybe Jason Kroom might be your starting tight end. Maybe you draft one. Maybe you bring one in. Again, that's all part of building around. So even at 5-9, I'm not. I want to win games. Beating New England on Christmas or right around Christmas in New England, Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, that would be huge. I don't want to lose. This I'm very adamant about. I don't ever really want to lose. I think, especially at 5-9, you're not getting the first pick. You might end up around 14th or something if you win the last 2 games. I don't know. What's the difference really between, I don't know, 9th or 10th and 14th? I just, the draft, it being such the crapshoot it is, the lottery that it is, basically. I'm not interested in losing, especially on purpose. Like I said, there are rare occasions where it makes sense, but this is definitely not one of them. Anyway, the Bills going into Foxborough this weekend to play the Patriots. And like I alluded to earlier, this demise of the Patriots is there actually legs to it this time? And I don't know. They've lost 2 games in a row. They lost to Pittsburgh and they lost on a Miami Miracle. Obviously, they were 9-3 before that. They should have probably been 10-3. And then maybe they lose to the Steelers. I don't know. There are red flags surrounding the Patriots that, to me, are noteworthy. They're worth talking about. And that is, namely, Tom Brady, especially this past Sunday against the Steelers, there's like one throw where Brady like rolls out to his left. I think it might have been the last play of the game. I think it actually was. And he like rolls out to his left and isn't getting bared down on by really anyone. Like, obviously people are rushing him, but he's got time. And he just kind of like hurls it up and like turtles to his left, and nobody's really about to hit him. And I'm like, that's weird to see from Tom Brady. The interception he threw looked like he was trying to like throw it away, or what was he trying to do? And he leaves it in the field of play for that guy to pick off, for Joe Hayden to pick off that easily. It's weird. Like, Gronkowski doesn't really get the separation anymore. He can't run that well. He's got ankle and back injuries. I think you might be seeing the end of Gronkowski, and I saw some people think, like, maybe, because he's from Buffalo, he might come to the Bills or something, and I don't know, I certainly wouldn't rule that out, but I think it's far more likely that he retires than anything else, because, I mean, how many people do you know that used to have bad backs? Like, I had back surgery when I was a teenager. Like, it doesn't get better. I mean, it might correct some issues, but, like, you have a back issue once, you just have back issues, like, forever. Nobody used to have a bad back and now has a good one. I don't know. I'm sure there are counting examples you could come up with, but I think that as a general rule, holds pretty true. So, like I said, Gronkowski appears to be possibly at the tail end of his career. He's only, 30 years old, 29 or 30 years old. I'm not entirely sure of his age, but I can see the decline in his game, and it's evident on the stats, because you look at, he's got 11 games played and 45 catches. Like, that's just a shade over 4 catches a game. Just 3 touchdowns. He's only catching, he's actually catching 2/3 of his targets, which isn't too bad. But Julian Edelman is 32 years old with a rough knee. I mean, he is still capable of getting separation and finding holes in the zone, and I don't know. It just feels like it's trending downward. The Patriots don't feel like the dominant force that they once were. And, I mean, you could sit here and be like, Greg, they're still the Patriots. They still have Tom Brady. They still have Bill Belichick. I know that. Like, that is obviously apparent, but I don't get it. Why am I watching them and are they pretenders? They just look like a regular playoff team. They don't look like a premier team in the league anymore. And I know they have, like, the ultimate premier quarterback and, like, a premier tight end, or maybe that's what they were. I have an old buddy from college, Matt McCarthy, who works for 98.5, The Hub, out there in Boston, and he wrote about, how he thinks this is it, like, what a run this has been, but, like, we have to face reality. We're watching the end. And pretty good follow on Boston Sports Follow on Twitter, if you can handle Boston Sports Follows. I think he's Matt McCarthy 98.5. But shout out, Matt, if you watch these. I don't expect you to, but just wanted to say what's up. Shout out. It might. I mean, they're thinking maybe in Boston that it could be the end. But, as far as this week goes, the Bills are 13.5-point dogs, which to me sounds absolutely insane, because the Bills typically don't give up a lot of points. Well, they don't score a lot of points, but, like, if they don't give up a lot, it's, a 13-point separation. Like, the Bills are probably, reasonably expecting to score 10 or 13 points, so you're just banking on the Patriots getting to, like, 27. And I don't know if that's a sure thing. They still have that 3-headed, do I call it a monster? That 3-headed running back group, I guess. Sony Michel, James White, pass-catching back, Burkhead is back. They use Cordell Patterson as a bit of a gadget player. I don't think they're that good on defense. I think they got some nice players, like Trey Flowers, and, Gilmore's there, but they seem to be a very run-of-the-mill defense. Like I said, they just feel like such an average team. And I don't know. I'm not going to pick the Bills to win because it's the Patriots. Like, I know McCoy will be back, but their Bills are going through this sort of youth movement, and Keith Ford still might see some touches and whatnot. But I'm encouraged. I'm excited to see Josh Allen play in Foxborough. But I'm going to pick the Patriots to win the game. 22-16. Bills cover. Sure. Guys, as you know, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I will talk to you guys next week. As always, above all else, Go Bills.